Hey everybody, this is Mike. Welcome back to my humble little shop here. We've got a 2005 Ford F-150 with a 5.4 Triton V8 engine in here today. This particular truck belongs to a client who, at 120,000 miles, I did his spark plugs in this vehicle, and it now has about just south of 180,000, 177 and change. So this is the only one I've actually done twice now. I've done quite a few of these in the past, and anywhere from 80 to 110. This is probably one of the longest, was 120,000 miles. And I followed the Ford TSB pretty much to a T. And I know there's some people that use air ratchets, impact guns, to rattle them out. Their theory is, you rattle them and get them popping and break the corrosion and the carbon loose and bring them out. I haven't done that. I'm a little leery to be honest with you. I've had very few of the little shields break and stay stuck back, remaining in the head. So the reason why I'm going to video this one, there's a lot of videos out there of people doing these Triton engines with the spark plug with the shield on them. The reason why I'm doing this one is just because it has been done about 60,000 miles prior, and I anti-seized the shields and a little bit on the threads. So I'm curious to see how it's going to come apart this time. So that's why I decided to go ahead and videotape it and see really if the anti-seize helps. Doesn't help, it's probably not going to be a fair comparison anyway, because the first one was at about 120,000, this one being 60. But still, I just wanted to go ahead and do a video on it as I'm replacing these plugs. I'm also doing a transmission service on it as well. I don't know if I'll video that or not. It's pretty standard, just to drop the pan and change the filter and retorque the pan back on and fill it up. So it's pretty humdrum. But I do want to do the plugs, video the plugs on these, and hopefully it'll be helpful to anybody who's looking to do this on their own vehicle. First go around, this truck was just normally just running on petroleum, on unleaded gasoline. Now it's actually been converted. Right after I did the plugs on it, the owner had it set up to run on natural gas. So that's going to be another kind of little wrinkle in it here. I want to see how the natural gas has affected those plugs at all. So that's really the only reason why I'm videoing this. It's no different than any of the other 100,000 probably videos are out there. I'm doing the Triton V8 spark plug replacements, but this one's kind of unique in that respect. When I did it at 120,000 miles for this client, he was actually trying to get it ready and get it set up to put natural gas on it. So it's been running about 60,000 miles on natural gas. So it'll be interesting to see how they look. And there's a little bit more wiring. It's not a ton, but there is a little bit more wiring. A few things I'm going to have to move out of the way that you may not have to deal with without running natural gas. So anyway, I'll get the camera set up over here, get the basic air cleaner and stuff like that out of the way, and then we'll move on to the exciting part. Okay, I didn't show pulling the PCM out of the way, but basically you've got 3 plugs here, and then you got your PCM that sits right here. It's a good idea to just pull these 3 plugs off. There's 4, I believe there's 6mm bolts, so I think they have a 10mm head. Pull those 4 bolts out, pull your PCM out of the way, and then there's 3 bolts, and you remove the bracket out of the way. That'll give you access back in here. I'm going to do the back 2, the hardest ones on this side to get to first. That one come loose okay. Let's see if we pull it out with everything intact. Once I pull the coil out of the way, this is a coil unplugged engine. Once you pull that out of the way, I like to just take a blast of air and shoot down in there as well. Any debris, anything like that, get it out of there. I can already tell you this is coming out a lot better than it did originally. And there's a shield. You can still see remnants. You can still see remnants of the anti-seize on it. Yeah, they're definitely, I don't know if you can see that or not, they're definitely worn compared to the new ones. But originally when I did this, just like any other one I did it for the first time, you crack them loose, squirt some penetrant down in there, and then backing them out, you're backing them out with the ratchet every bit of the way. And the screeching noises those threads are releasing is just like nails on a chalkboard. They're just inching their way out. This one here, you notice I cracked it loose and then pulled it right out with just my little palm wheel there on the extension. So I'll actually show you a new plug side by side so you can get an idea of what the wear looks like. But this is about 60,000 miles. Now there is some extra wires. I noticed that I did mention earlier. You see some extra wires. Here's a controller for the natural gas. I'm not a big fan of aftermarket add-ons on stuff like this. Don't even get me started on remote starts. I know people say, oh, they had theirs meticulously installed, or they meticulously installed theirs. I've yet to see one that's been what I would consider meticulously installed. They do nothing but add to the cost, the time, and everything else when it comes time to have even some of the most basic troubleshooting done and repairs done. So, like I said, that's a whole nother topic. Get me sidetracked on aftermarket remote start systems. But this natural gas installation, there's a lot of wires under here. They at least did a nice job of zip tying them together and in a bundle to where they're not all just scattered all over. They're kind of tied into a little bundle, so I just had to cut one zip tie loose to move it out of the way. To get to the back too, I should be able to get to the front too without too much problem as well. The other side's going to be a little bit more because that's where the natural gas line comes in, and it's about 1.5 inch line running in. So that's going to be a little more troublesome. I didn't look at that until after I already had the PCM and everything out of the way here. So I'll just go ahead and complete this bank and then move over to the other one. But I will grab a new spark plug here real quick. So again, hope this shows up. There's a new one. There's the old one. You can kind of see the wear in them. This one's dished up into the ground electrode, whereas that one there is pretty much straight across. So they're due to be changed. Ought to run better when it's done. I don't think he really had any complaints about it running, but this should definitely help. So we'll put some anti-seize on this one. All right, yeah, I just put a little bit of, just brush it on a little bit of anti-seize on the shield and up into the threads, and I will start this back down in there. Okay, there's one of them. Back one. Okay, those two, coils back on those two, and I'll move forward and do the other ones. All right, so we're just finishing up here. I got the right bank done. I've got the back two on the driver's side bank. Here's the control box and the big gas line that I had mentioned earlier that I need to move out of the way, and I'm just pulling the last two coils out of the way for numbers 5 and 6 here. There we go. Whoops. And wouldn't you know it, that boot come off. Last one, and the boot comes off the coil. Try to carefully reach down in here and extract. There we go. Okay, so I got the coil out of the way. Blew air down in the spark plug wells. Blow out whatever debris is down in there. It never fails. There's always something that gets stuck down in there. So blew all those out, got them nice and clean. You don't want anything falling down in your cylinders after you pull the spark plug out. So now I will put my extension down to my 9/16. And you see how easily those turn coming out. There's no, this is, like I said, this is the first one of these I've done a second time after I've done them and put anti-seize on them. And I can honestly say that it is well worth putting the anti-seize on them. There's, those things spun out by hand, and last go round, every one of those had to be pulled out the entire way with a ratchet, and they were squealing and carrying on coming out. And these ones here, once you crack them loose, you spin them right out. And so there's number 6. Let's go ahead and pull out number 5 while we're right here. See if we get the same result. This will be the last one. And same thing, spins right out by hand. Bingo. Didn't lose a single sleeve either. Another advantage of anti-seizing. Okay, got them anti-seized. Drop number 6 down in the hole. And I'll torque that down. Okay, that one's done. And last but not least, number 5. Put it down in the torque that one in place. Okay, and that's done. So I'll grab the coils, check them over real quick, and put them in. Alright, so snake coil number 6 down into place. And coil number 5. Five is a little tricky here because you actually want to connect the connector, because it goes underneath this bracket that holds the power steering reservoir on. So you want to actually connect that connector first. Then it kind of rotates down and underneath the power steering reservoir bracket there. If you try to pull the plug off first, you won't be able to pull it up far enough for that bracket. So when you go to take it out, pull the retaining bolt out, just turn the coil, and it pulls the plug right over here in the open, and then you can undo the connector, and then just reverse putting it back in. So there's 5 bolted down. Let's see if I sneak my fingers back in here for number 6. Use my extension to get it down there close. Perfect. And tighten that coil down. Okay, tighten number 5 down. Don't forget to plug number 6 in. See, you hear that audible snap. Now, I had actually undone the line over here. I'll go ahead and snake that back over into place. Pop that down. And the inlet air temperature switch put back on. And then the control module for this side, for the CNG system. Okay, and I think that about does the spark plug replacement. And again, I can vouch for the fact that Anti-Seize works on them. I was able to thread all 8 of those out by hand once I broke them loose, and all of the ends of the spark plugs were intact. Not a single one of them broke off down in the cylinder heads. So all in all, a successful repair. So again, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And thank you for your time.